Welcome to EDUC 407 week 3. Okay, so I'm making this video early so that way you guys can get started on it, especially if you have a 3-day weekend if you're working in education this weekend, as well as we have Valentine's Day coming up and another 3-day weekend next. So trying to get you guys ahead as much as possible so that way you can work on it if you are at that point. I just want to let you guys know grades are updated for the first week. Great job. Everybody did everything, so I have no issues. Just keep up the good work, and we're going to be all set. And of course, if you run into any issues, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. So let's look at what we have to do this next week. So we have we have 5 assignments that we have to do. 3 of them are going to be using what we call Padlet. What you're going to do is you're going to be looking at some videos, some information, some websites, and then you're going to submit something on Padlet, and I'll show you what all that stuff looks like in just a little bit. And then that'll be how you submit your assignments for this week for those first 3. All of your assignments are due by the 19th, but, as usual, if you don't need a little extra time, no big deal. I'm not too worried about it. I'm actually coming back from Vegas on the 19th, so again, if it's there, it's there. If not, I probably won't even look at it till Tuesday at the earliest, which would be the 21st. Then you have 2 other assignments. One is a digital citizenship policy, and it's group work, and I'll show you all that in just a second. And lastly, there is the copyright commercial. The copyright commercial is designed that you're going to make a quick design of a commercial using copyright law. We'll talk a little bit about that. Especially in this digital age, copyright law is very important. So let's kind of go through this on Blackboard so you can see what you're going to be doing. So you should see here on Blackboard, this is the spot where I normally have the video. I'll have it in a little bit as soon as I finish this. You're going to see right here is where you submit your work for numbers 1 through 3, the first 3 assignments. And this link right here is very important because you're going to submit it here. You're not going to submit it in Blackboard. The assignment's in Blackboard for me to give you points, but you're going to go to that link and you're going to submit it. But let's go over all the different things first. The first thing you got to do is watch these ISTE videos. So when you watch them, I'll make sure to open it up right here. You've got Digital Citizen 2A, which is a digital footprint. Understanding how once we start doing stuff online, we create a digital footprint that people could track. Then you got online behavior, talking about being a digital citizen that way. Intellectual property, that's a very important piece as we tend to use things that may not be ours, but understanding how to do that right. And lastly, digital privacy. Something very important for our kids as well as for us, having that digital privacy to take care of things. Please make sure you watch all 4 of these videos. Okay. Once you watch all 4 of them, what you're going to do is you're going to come into this Padlet. And when you click on that link on the first one, for the ISTE videos, summarize in a paragraph what you've learned. So just give me a quick paragraph like, what did you get out of online behavior, digital privacy, those type of things, and just write a paragraph and put it right underneath here. You'll notice that there's 2 other things, and that's going to go for our other 2 assignments. Common Sense Media, how could you use the resources with the students, and Pear Deck, Be Internet Awesome. Again, I love Pear Deck. That's one of the big things. It's very interactive for students. Something definitely to look at. Let's go back into Blackboard so you can see that stuff. So I'm going to come back into the main page of Blackboard. That was number 1. Number 2 is a website to look at. It's called Common Sense Media. There's some digital citizenship resources that you would be able to look at. If I click on that, let's see if it loads up for me. And you can look at a lot of the things that are here. They have lessons that you can look at. Really just kind of get an idea what digital citizenship is. This is important because one of the things that we want students to know is how to do things right online. The last thing we want them to do is coming up with a problem and it affects them for the rest of their lives. So very, very important to read this, see if there's anything that could be used. And again, you would come once you finish looking at it, how could you use these resources with the students? So you definitely want to make sure to put that there. Our last one, if I come back here, is the Pear Deck, Be Internet Awesome. This is also a link. You're going to go to the site. You're going to click on Preview under Lessons. You're going to read a slide deck, and then you're going to answer this question, how is the interactivity of these lessons helpful? Okay, so If I go here, we'll click on it. We'll make sure we can see it. So here's Parrot X. So there's a lot of different things here. We want to go, and I forgot exactly where we're going to go. So let me go back here. Preview and lessons. So we definitely, let's see if I can go down here. Let's see, I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can go right here, Be Internet Awesome and Parrot X. So you get the decks, and you can look at each of these ones right here. You know, there's a bunch. And these are actually interactive lessons. If you're in the classroom, you can actually use with kids. So that's kind of important. So if we clicked on this one, Be Internet Awesome, keeping it private. You're going to have some slide decks right here that will load, and that you can actually use to talk to kids about. So again, definitely some important things that you could do. Plus, there's more Parrot X. And with Parrot X, it's one of those things where students can actually interact in real time, and you can see what they're thinking. It's very important that as a teacher, if you're assessing students, you want to know exactly what they're thinking before they get to the end and they make the mistakes. So if you could stop that, that's always a great thing. But also, it's a way to talk to them about important things, such as being internet awesome. Once you work on that and you read some of the slide decks, see how that interactivity is helpful. Make sure you put it in that Padlet right here. So that's going to be very important. Our fourth assignment. This is the one where you work in a group, and I'll show you what your groups are in just a second. You want to meet with your group on Slack. I would probably recommend that. That's pretty easy to use. And you're going to discuss and plan a digital citizenship policy for, say, a fake school. You're going to work at the policy as a group, either all together, or you might divide the sections up so that each person completes something as a vision for the group. Once you've read the articles on digital citizenship, you want to create a digital citizenship policy for a school. You can choose the grade level. It could be an elementary, junior high, or middle school, or high school. You should include action items, such as teachers will do this, students will do this, parents will do this. About 5 to 7 bullets that really covers everything. Just make sure it's appropriate. And you may want to look at different ones that other schools might have. A lot of schools force students and parents and even teachers to have kind of what we call an AUP, which is how you use technology. Sometimes they call it digital citizenship policy, but it also spells out what happens if you break the rules. And this is where another part of it is you should include a progressive discipline program. What happens if they mess up the first time? What happens the second time? At which point do we have some issues? What happens if a student, teacher, or parent violates some of the things? What you're going to do is you should probably create a Google Doc where all of you guys are able to work on, so that way you guys can put things in. Once you finish with it, only one person needs to submit it as long as your names are on it. And once you do that, make sure you submit it to me, and as long as I can view it and I see the names, everybody will get the credit for it. There's a video right there that gives you some ideas to help you out. But to give you an idea what you have to do, here are the groups. So these are the groups. Jordan, Veronica, Maki, Leonora, you're in one group. Cynthia, Mackenzie, Daniel, and Jessica, you're in another group. We did have one person drop out, so it makes for even groups. That way you guys can all work together, and it probably won't take you that long to do. What I have done is put your names into a Slack, and I'll kind of go up here to Slack. And each of you has a group. So if you're in group 1, I have put you into group 1, so you should see that on your screen. If you're in group 2, you should see that. And just keep in mind that if you're in one group, you're not in the other group. So it's not like you can just jump into the other group. So I have randomly selected people for this. And so just make sure you start meeting with your group and talking to them. I encourage Slack or any other means of communicating if you know anybody. But this is probably the best way of doing it, especially if you don't have their numbers. We all have access to this. But what you're going to do is you're going to discuss what you want to put in. You can actually type in everything here, and someone can put it on a Google Doc or a Word file and then submit it for your group. So it's kind of up to you how you guys want to do it. This is the only kind of group assignment this week that you have to worry about. It's the only time maybe you might be on Slack this week. If you notice, I haven't really put anything on Slack for this week, so that's okay. So just make sure you guys get that done. Now, coming back to the last part of our week, we're going to talk about copyright and fair use. Believe it or not, a lot of teachers steal stuff, and they use stuff when they shouldn't do it. And a lot of times it doesn't matter because they're not making any money off of it, but sometimes copyrights can be really important and can put schools, teachers, and districts in some legal liabilities. So I do have a lecture right here to watch. Take your time, watch it. There's a lot of things that gets covered. It's not an exhaustive thing, so it's not like I cover every single little situation because technology's making everything tougher to litigate, to understand how copyright works. Okay, once you finish watching that, and I have some resources on it, so I definitely want to look at that. I want you to make a commercial. So you did screencasting for week 2, so you're going to do another screencast. And what I want you to do is make a 30-second to 60-second commercial. Think about commercials like the Super Bowl is going to have. And you just want to pick one little aspect of copyright law. Just one. Again, you're not going to cover everything. We just want you to cover one thing that if someone had to watch it, would they understand that aspect of copyright law real quick? Okay. So you just choose a piece of copyright law. Think one small part. Okay. That's all you have to do. Create a concept for your commercial. A lot of times, if you search 407 copyright commercial, there's going to be some things in there. People have done this for a few years now, so they may have some ideas to help you out. Decide on a platform for your commercial. Some people like to make an animated video. Some people will just do a screencast. Definitely a lot of different options. You'll create that video. Remember, 30 to 60 seconds. If you go a little bit over, no big deal, but it shouldn't be a long video. Export it to YouTube, get that link, make sure it's shared, and then post that URL for the video. I will offer a little bit extra credit for some of you guys that start using some of these online creation tools. You'll see here in the folder resources, online video creation right here. You can use some of these things, or if you've learned on some of the other ones. Animoto is a good one. Voki and Powtoon. There's a lot of other options that you can look at. PowerPoint is definitely something. You can make animations and you can do a screencast that way. There's a lot of different things you can do, including music to go along with it. So again, have some fun with it. As long as you do the commercial, I'm fine with that. If you want to use some of these tools, I am willing to offer a little bit of extra credit just so you're trying something different. I know some people might create like something using Snapchat. If you want to do something like that, that's fine too. Just as long as you're able to download it and get a link or somehow, some way you're able to do that to submit it, I'm willing to look at any different ways that you want to do so. So this gives you at least a start. Okay. Please make sure if you have any questions, you definitely ask. Again, there are 5 assignments for this next week. We are not meeting for class. And I won't be available on Thursday. I'll actually be driving to Vegas on Thursday, so I couldn't meet with anybody. But if you do have questions, please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I got no problems responding to emails. It might take me a little bit starting on Thursday to respond, but I will do my best to respond. But if you do have any questions, feel free to contact me. Otherwise, use yourselves in Slack to talk to each other to start the group project. And if you have any other questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Have a wonderful week. Hopefully you're enjoying this first 3-day weekend with the Super Bowl because I'm posting this early. And you'll enjoy the second 3-day weekend if you have that opportunity. And we should be back in class that following week for our next in-class meeting. But if you have any questions, let me know.